I'm very pleased to be interviewing Matt Roche, who's CEO Extole. Thank you for your time today.
It's really a pleasure, Charlene.
Let's start with your background. How did you get to where you are today?
So this is one in a series of companies. I had run a systems integrator in the early 2000s, late 90s, called 4-Point Partners, where we built like BestBuy.com and BlueLight.com, very big systems. But I was much more passionate about what happens when you take a person out of the selling environment and replace it with technology. So we were doing that, and we said, well, maybe there's a better idea in kind of making it easier. So we created a company called Offermatica that instead of building the back ends, would start making the front ends better. And we did that through multivariate testing, where we could test thousands of different permutations, different offers, and figure out which one had the best effect on the end consumer. And in fact, it turned out to be a great way for marketers to listen to their consumers by testing. And our team was one of the groups that really commercialized testing in a broad sense back in the early 2000s. I joined Extole back in April because I saw a company that had a very interesting approach to social. Now, I think social is interesting, it's obviously explosive, but I've had a hard time connecting with it in terms of how does a marketer use social beyond sort of general engagement. I'm someone who runs things by the numbers. I want to know how is this going to affect actual sales and conversions. And there's very little of that inside the social world. And then I found this company, Extole. And suddenly I saw, oh my God, here is a social company that generates conversions and acquisitions for companies and is completely measurable. So the analytics are real. And so I dug in, and I've been there 6 months, and it's been a fantastic time.
Matt, what do you do on a day-to-day at Extole? And give us an overview of Extole's business proposition.
So I run Extole, but Extole delivers customers through social referrals. So what we do is we run a system, it's called a SaaS system, that you can tag your site, and then it allows you to introduce programs where you can offer incentives like financial incentives, cash cards, gift cards, or in-kind incentives like a free month to your existing customers to advocate on your behalf. So if I said, Charlene, you should really try out 23andMe, I think it's fantastic. It's more than just genetic testing. I found out I was 3% Neanderthal and all this other cool stuff, and I can get you $20 off of it. I send you an email, you look and you say, wow, this is neat. I enjoy this process and I got a deal out of it. And so what we're doing is we're merging together direct marketing with traditional advocate marketing that's been around for 40,000 years. We're just making it more effective by introducing incentives to the marketing process.
How many years has Extole been around, and has it evolved as new technology and new social platforms become available?
That's a very good question. So 3.5 years, I believe, and I've only been in since April. Early on with Extole, it was called Telepal, and in some ways it was more of an agency than a software company, because back then we were mostly trying to figure out what actually worked. And so it's easy to say, oh, I'll just build software, but a lot of times when you figure out when humans are involved, you have to be constantly trying new things to figure out what they'll respond to, figuring out what the levers are. As of last year, we actually started a new program to completely rewrite the software. And we rewrote it for a couple reasons. One is the reasons you were bringing up before, issues of fraud and deliverability. Second was to make it much, much faster and easier to integrate. And the third is, and we'll be releasing this early next year, is the ability for people to use it self-service. So one of the things I found when I was running Offermatica, the testing platform, is that when marketers could actually use a tool and get direct feedback and direct analytics, it made them better marketers, because in a way the analytics was listening. So we want to give that same opportunity in the social referral space.